Well guys, I figured I'd work on the Stover hit and miss engine tonight. And the first part of this voyage here is to it's seized up. So I'm going to take this head off, and all this linkage on the side here, the governor, all these gears and everything, they're all frozen. So what I want to attempt to do is to take all this stuff off and try to oil it up and get it freed up again and get it moving. And I'm tempted to take this whole pile of crap off and basically put it in the electrolysis bath and see if I can get it to work again. But you know, I bought a magneto online that will go on here, but the piston is at the back of the bore, so that's a good spot for it to be frozen. And you can see it stuck in the bottom of the jug here, coming out the back a little bit. So you know, hopefully if I take this head off, you know, I'm hoping that the inside of the cylinder isn't totally trashed. But there's some pretty big nuts on there. I don't know what size they are, but they might be 7/8. Yeah, so we'll see if we can get this head off. Oh, there we go. It's going to come off. And, you know, all these valve springs still move, but the valves are all frozen. But so I'm gonna take this head off, and then we'll report back in and see where we're at. I got the bolts out of the head, but I can't get the head out. I don't want to crack the cast iron, so I'm trying to be real gentle with this thing. But it's really stuck on there. Oh, it's coming. Coming free. Yes. Oh, it's horrible. Valves are rusted right in half. This thing is shot. That's not cool. Holy crap. It's like it's full of water. Ouch. The cylinder's a little rusty too. Well guys, this is the cylinder bore, and there's some rust on there, that's for sure. And you can see the piston down there is pretty well stuck in there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this thing upright, like 90 degrees upright, and put some ATF in there and let it soak, and hopefully this rust isn't going to be terminal to my project here. You know, the question is, how deep is it pitted? Like, yeah, there's a bunch of globs of shit on here, but will it scrape off pretty good is the question. And I'm just going to take this wrench for a second and see what we got here. Yeah, so it's hard to say if this is going to clean up or not. I think it will. I think it's just made these lumps on there, kind of protruding on there, but we got to get that piston out first. That's really our first step in this job here. And this head, hopefully you can get valves for this somehow. But it's kind of funny how the whole valve stem just rusted right off the valve. Never seen anything like it. I think the valve seat might be somewhat savable here. This other valve here, the intake, I guess it would be, that thing is really stuck. But maybe I'll give that a couple taps with the hammer and see if I can get that thing out. But yeah, it's really a project, that's for sure. But you know, we'll see. Well guys, I put the stover upright here, and I got the cylinder, I got the ATF and the acetone in there. And I'm just going to let that soak, obviously, and you know, we'll see what happens. But as I rub this oily mix on this rusty cylinder, I do think it's going to clean up. I really do. Ooh, that stings. It's all that acetone. But I'm just going to put a plastic bag over this or something in case it rains. But you know, we'll see what happens here. And I think that we'll let it soak for a couple days, and maybe then we'll just take a block of wood and try to hammer that piston out the back or something. But for now, we'll just let her soak, and that's all we can do. Well, I decided to put the head in the press here and press these frozen valves right out of it. It's working pretty good, so I'm just gonna, what I did is I just used a little bolt, and there it goes. There's the one valve. And so this valve came out, and surprisingly enough, the valve itself is like the same size as one that goes on a Kohler engine. So I think what I'm going to do is just get 2 Kohler valves, and we'll just grind those things right into this head. All we got to do is drill this little hole at the end. It's like an 1/8 inch hole that roll pin goes through, and that's it. So I think that this head will be actually pretty easy to fix. It's not very complex, and you know, we'll be able to get it working.